All right, so this is gonna be not that tricky, but I gotta be careful. So I got 1 gallon and I brought uh, enough oil for a gallon and a half. So I'm gonna put a little bit in at a time and make sure that at the end of this, there's half a gallon left. I know that math is pretty difficult, but you know, I am a pilot, so our math skills are kind of bad. All right, so I've waited for the weather to clear up. I think it's cleared up enough as it's going to. And on the west side of the lake, I've picked out a alternative place to land if the fog has not let up to get back to the airport where I took off. So right now the weather looks, I mean, decent. It's cloudy, about overcast 700 feet or so, and wind looks good. It's not raining anymore, so I'm gonna take off and head north and then west over to the west side of the lake towards my alternative landing zone, in which case I'll make a decision if I want to go further west over back to Laney's airfield. I've fueled up, I ate, and I am ready to send it. Got a little bit of a breeze coming from the south, which is good. It's probably not going to be the smoothest flight ever, but at least I will be on my way back the second half of this cross-country flight. There are a few gusts, but hopefully once I get out over the lake, hopefully it smooths out for me. I don't like the cloud cover, but there is a good thing about the cloud cover, that it's preventing the sun from heating up the ground too much. The only thing I'm really concerned about is if the fog has lifted to get back to my takeoff point. Come on, get some good wind. There we go. A little bumpy behind these trees. Get out over the lake. What I'm gonna do is head straight for Trump's golf course and jump over this peninsula to the other side. Just want to stay high enough I don't get too much rotor going from the south. So I'm kind of in between a rock and a hard place. Going too high, I get bumped. Going too low, I get bumped. Trying to find that sweet spot. It looked like those people at Trump's golf course weren't very happy with me. I don't know why. Don't they see I'm fighting some wind up here? I am so retarded. I put my GoPro on my helmet backwards. So I don't know if we're gonna be able to use any of that footage. I put it on backwards and just reached up to feel the angle and if the lens was a little wet. And I realized that I put it on backwards. That is the first time I've ever done that. But anyways, if it sucks, I'm gonna start over. All right, so I took off from the east side of Lake Norman, and now I'm on the west side. The clouds have really not let up. And I'm coming to my alternate landing site over here. If I can't scud run back to my takeoff airport. I can see the mountain where I have to aim to the north of. There's a little hill, I wouldn't call it a mountain. It's a little hill I've got the power plant there. I'm now on the west side of Lake Norman. Refueled. It is getting a little bumpy over here. I do have an alternate landing spot at the end of this this draw of water, this inlet. Clouds are pretty low over here. I'm starting to feel a little bit of rain. A little rain didn't hurt it, never hurt anybody, but if it starts getting too much, it could become a bad thing. I've flown through rain before, it's not the worst thing, and this is just light little bands here of rain. Okay, so from this inlet, I gotta head west, cross at the pole, GoPro lens is getting wet. Okay, so far it's not too bad. I can head towards my alternate field. Make sure I'm on the right ground track here. And then from there, all I have to do is go a little bit west, and I'm back at Laney's. But there is a ridge line that I do have to go over on the way, and I can't get too high. Right in between that ridge is where I gotta go. Right in between that ridge. There's clouds, ridge. I can see blue sky up there. So I know this layer isn't that thick. Just gotta be careful around this ridge up here. It heads, it's positioned south to north, and my field is just on the other side of it. All right, I've got my alternate field in sight. We're gonna come up a little bit, see if we can make it. I don't wanna push it too hard though. Gain a little altitude here. And I think these bumps are just from the bottoms of these clouds. They're not too bad. The visibility is increasing on to the south. I just gotta see what's gonna happen over here close to this ridge. I may try and go around the north side of the ridge because I have a few more outs over here as far as fields go. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Instead of trying to cut through that saddle right there, I'm gonna come around to the north and then go west from there. Just gotta make sure that it doesn't get too bumpy on the north side of this ridge. The wind's coming from the south and it's positioned south to north, so I'm not too worried about rotor coming off of this thing. I mean, these clouds aren't moving that fast. There's not too much rotor action out here. But now I'm gonna be scud running from field to field. And we're gonna go over here and see what it looks like around the west side of this little hill. I wanna give it some distance though, so I'm gonna go from this field to that field. Woo! It's what we call an adventure, baby. Scud running your paramotor. I am going north now. We're just taking a little detour. I gotta make sure that it's not too rainy over here. There's some mist. Lots of options for outs right here. And this is what I was talking about earlier when I flew out here, is if my engine quit when I was above the clouds, I'd pick a hole and come down. It would be essential to make a split-second decision on which one of these fields to commit to. All right, so we have to be game on here. I can't get too high because then I'll go into the clouds. But it's smoothed out since I left the lake, which is kind of odd. You'd think it'd be smoother over the lake. All right, I want to make sure I give this ridge plenty of distance. I think that was a wise decision to head to the north of this ridge. Now the scud running starts. We were scud running, but now it's gonna get even more lower. Just gotta find the right fields. Pulling out the map. Okay, so I've gotta, okay, what I'm gonna do is try and follow. I see these power lines, head straight southwest along these power lines, and that's gonna lead me to a field where I'll just have to go south to the airfield, and then boom, we'll be there. So I'm gonna follow these power lines for a while, just hope that there's fields on either side that I could choose for an out if need be. Got a little ways to go down to the end of this line right here. So we are truly scud running. I'm not gonna fly directly over. I'm gonna come to the right. What I really wanna do is get out of the way because the wind's coming from that way. I wanna get further west so that way I know that these hills right here are not giving me any kind of rotor. But right now I've got a good geographical reference on exactly which way to go to get back to my takeoff spot. We are scud running, baby, scud running. Woo! I would like to get out my camera to take pictures and video, but I've got to concentrate on the task at hand here. Come out a little north over this field. I'm headed southwest into the wind. Once I get clear on the west side of this, I'll feel a lot more comfortable. I'm really glad that the fog lit up. I'm also happy about this cloud cover because it's given me the opportunity to make it back. I'm starting to see some sunlight come out that way. Just gotta navigate my way back to Ladies Field. Of this row of power lines, Ladies Field is going to be basically directly south of there. What an adventure, baby! Woo! Testing yourself. Testing yourself. That's what it's all about. Nice little junkyard down here. Yeah, the sun's starting to poke through over here, so I think that this has been perfect timing of when I took off on the east side of Lake Norman. Just enough time to let the fog dissipate, keep the cloud cover so that I don't start getting a lot of turbulence over here. Okay, I'm starting to pick up a few thermals over here. The sun's starting to poke through in spots. I can feel some warm air mixing. Yeah. I may be getting a little rotor from that hill over there, so I'm gonna head this way. Kind of have to keep clear of this hill. A respectful distance away. Kind of making an arc back towards Ladies Field. I'm sure glad I didn't fly through that that ridge or that saddle between that hill and that hill. Okay. I'm almost to the end of that line of power lines. And from there, it's a straight shot south to the field. There's some sun poking through these clouds. So that air is gonna start mixing and start to get rid of these clouds overhead pretty fast. And they're gonna start turning into buildups. It's gonna be a pretty hot day out. All right, so here pretty soon, I gotta find my line back to the field from where I am. It's, okay, I'm super close. It's just directly south of me here. Super close. Perfect timing. Just gotta find that airfield. Oh, it's closer than where I thought. Okay, come down this road. Hopefully that hill is far enough away not to cause any rotor. But I think the wind's coming from the south here. I got it in my sights. I want to make sure clear the downwind. Make sure nobody's got any planes. All right, windsock is a little bit from the south. The flag. Okay, clear right, clear left. Landed on runway 23, Laney's Airfield. Sun on my car. And here we go. Scud runned it back. Wind's coming right down the pipe. Perfect landing! Don't get on any of those poles. Whoa! Oh, that was fun. Got a little rained on. Haven't flown in the rain in a while. I would not suggest that you do that, but mission accomplished. All right, guys, I made it back. And I had to scud run my way around some mountains and find my way back using my phone, Google Maps. That was I had to use a combination of navigational aids and Google Maps to find my way back because I was having a scud run. Just now the clouds are starting to break up, and so it was perfect timing. There's a truck behind me, oversized loader. Just want to talk a little bit about the flight, especially the way over there. Taking off in the fog, climbing up high enough where if I had an engine out, I had options. They weren't very good options, but I could see, it's going to be hard to tell from the video, but I could see openings in the fog that would allow me some chance to land hopefully in a field. Now there was a risk involved with that, and I admit there's quite the possibility I could have ended up in a tree, but that was a risk that I took, and I knew the risk. I said my plan was to take off from Laney's field in fog, get above the fog, climb up high enough where I could jump from spot to spot, and there were spots where I could see the ground. Now, whether or not you think that's a good idea or not, probably not a good idea, but I was willing to accept that risk. Anyways, so I am going to pack everything else up. It's pretty much packed up into the back of my Corvette and head on home. What an adventure. Oh, another thing. I'm flying with my very patriotic Paramotor t-shirt. You've got your guy, he's flying with his eagle, his American flag, and there's my logo, Paramotor the Americas. If you want to pick up one of these, if you want to pick up one of these, it's on my website, paramotortheamericas.com. There's all kinds of Paramotor specific t-shirts, hopefully one. If you want to rep that Paramotor spirit everywhere you go, there's probably one for you there. The other thing is, if you haven't checked out my movie, Paramotor the Americas, I strongly suggest or encourage you to check it out. You can find it on YouTube, you can find it on Amazon Prime, just search Paramotor the Americas. I spent a lot of time on that video, and so if you would watch it and give it a thumbs up. Besides that, give this video a thumbs up, give this video a subscribe, a share, a like, share it with all your friends if you like this content. Alright, I'll see you guys in Paramotor Alone episode, the next episode. We're building, we're gaining more experience and more practice with the fundamentals that it takes to go out there and survive in the alone.